Hey folks, it's Ben. I'm here with another awesome video. Trying a little bit of a setup here, trying to get a desk area where I might be able to work on things and you guys can see them and they're relatively well lit. What I have here is my Gilson. If you saw the video, the initial startup of it, and I'll link to it right now, it had a little bit of a screaming starter issue, and of course that progressed to the point of now where it won't even pull start at all. So we got to take this cover off where the starter is, and let's see what's going on in there. I've got to remove three 13 millimeter or half-inch bolts. No, they are 12. No, they are not. Smooth start there, Chief. 11 millimeter works great with these. I had the right wrench, just the wrong end. So those three out, we should be able to just pull the cover straight out. Okay. What we have here is the rope is actually kind of come off the front here. This is the spring part where it's supposed to recoil it back, and it just is a little broken. I don't want to break the rope because I don't have any new ones. I'd have to, not that it would be an issue for me to get I need another camera facing down so you guys can see what I'm doing. What I'm doing is just kind of putting the rope back in the path here. And I might need a screwdriver to help me out with that. But yeah, it's we'll get the rope going and then we'll go on from there. I think our issue is this with the ratchet we'll have here, so we'll take that apart, see if we can't steal some parts off a different mower. Maybe that'll get us what we need to do. So I can mess around with this, but there are actually two tabs on this one, and it comes with four that hold this ratchet mechanism back. Obviously it's sprung somehow, but I'm just going to bend it back a little bit so I can get this rope underneath it. So they're not very, I can't imagine them being very strong, and they aren't. You can bend them back with your fingers once you get them up high enough. In the background, I don't know if you can see it, I also bought a battery for the Grand Prix, so we're not far from it getting it running again. Here we go. Easy sunshine. I also don't want to unwind the spring mechanism either, right? I want it to be a happy recoiling unit. So just lift it up a little bit. Coil the string back in there. You'd have to do this anyway if you broke I call it a string, but the pull rope or whatever you want to call it. Looks like it's got a little twist in it too. It's not good. So we'll just, but it was making a loud screaming noise, so something's broken in it. And it works fine occasionally, but then it gets really angry. There we go. We got it that far. There she goes. We bend these tabs back, but in a fashion so that it can spin, and then we'll lubricate this because it seems like it's something that wouldn't mind a little slickness. There we go. And then see it gets caught on that bottom one there. I put a little indent in it. Probably doesn't want that at all. Put a little oil on that, and then we'll move up here. It's just the 3-in-1. Of course, it's a tiller, right? It's going to be in a really dirty dirty place to work. I'm going to bend these other two over just to be a dink, but I'm thinking maybe the extra support, it's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. Well, I'll show you a picture of my armpit, because that's how I roll. There's one. push it down so I get the pliers in there and to bend it down a little more. Use the screwdriver once again to give it that final little push. There we go. Not quite super happy yet. So it's normal state like this, right? That's part of the issue. You gotta have the recoil all the way. Yeah, and it's like I can see the back of the spring here, and that's all dry and crappy. I'm gonna go ahead and soak the crap out of that. See what that helps or not. Oh geez, that was the boss right there. So I lubricated essentially this side of that recoil. That's a lot happier, so that's cool, but that's probably not causing our screaming because when the motor's running, this mechanism here isn't moving, right? And if you listen, that little clicking you hear are little balls that are in there. And they centrifugally get chucked out when you load it. So let's go ahead and take the nose off here and drop that out, hopefully not spill too much. There's one. More screws not to lose. Alright, there's two. That gets this off. Now we're left with this, which in here we don't actually have to take this off because that holds the flywheel on. We do need to get a little screwdriver in here and put your hand underneath and catch the balls. There they are. Okay. So what we have here is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course there's 6 little balls here. And so for some reason, this just isn't having a great day on the shaft. Ooh. So what I'm gonna do is the balls actually need to be free, so you can't grease them up, but the shaft itself can be greased. No harm in that. And then we'll put all that back together because it's recoiling just fine, but it's just something's not right. Just had to change the grease in my grease gun, so if you dig around in there, you can get a bunch of good stuff that you can put in a. There goes another ball. Okay. So how am I going to put all these balls back in? It's a great question. I don't know yet. Let's just make sure our shaft is all greasy first. You don't get any on those balls. Now people are going to be like, how many times can you say greasy balls on this video? Too many. Hopefully that's not going to drag too bad. Once it gets warm, it'll lubricate up a little bit, but that's pretty good. It'll be up to the ratchet mechanism to not. We'll see how that goes. Wow, it's cool. It's a little breather cap. It's a little fuzz ball. Didn't know that was in there. It's cool. Put it back. Back in there, you. Guess it might get warm in there. So now I've greased it. I'm going to degrease it. A little's a lot. Okay, there you go. That's pretty free turning, so I'm pretty happy with that. At least to give it a spot try anyway. So let me see if I can get these little guys back in. Probably the easiest way is, where'd the other one go? Oh, poop. Here it is. I'm going to tilt it back and drop them in and then put the front back on again. I can do that without wrecking everything. Hey, look, my Grand Prix battery is already useful. Yeah, this isn't going to be fun. Dope. this off and then put it back all in as an assembly. Or I could slip this off, keep my seal orientation correct. I can put this back in. Should probably check to see if I'm still on frame. Barely, but you don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I can digitally zoom that in. If I put these little sprockets in the way, they'll fall right in. Perfect. Let's drop the lid on. Drop the seal back in, which the seal actually has to ride in this. It just keeps dirt and dust out. And it's factory painted orange and has come off over time, but there, that lip's kind of greasy. Let's put a little oil on that, make sure it stays that way, because it has to friction ride on this thing. There we go. It's holding it in. Let's drop her forward again, so it's a more interesting video for everybody involved. Put the screen back on, because these screws that hold this in also hold the starter mechanism in. The only crappy part about filming YouTube videos is usually I got the music blaring, but unless I wanted to listen to open source music, which some of it's pretty good actually. I have to say thank you to those who are donating it, but it's just not my deal on videos typically. Alright, so we got the screen back on and the bolts in, so we got the cap back on. It seems to be working. Short that out so I don't accidentally start it. That seems to be alright. The only other component we have is this lid again. Let's make sure our fan's cool. The only thing I'm weird about is how this little spring setup is kind of lame. I'm not sure I love it. Might have to come back and look at that again and say, hey, let's make it a little bit more reliable. Sometimes the auto gets a little low and you're dinking around with it and just kind of... This is an air governed machine versus others that might be gear powered or what have you. Alright, let's put the top in. Let me grab some hearing protection and I'm pretty sure I can just start it up here. I'll show you the back of the machine, is why I'm not worried about the tine starting. The machine's really easy to start, so I'll start it right up here on the table. Our belt mechanism is exposed because my son lost the big nut that goes here. Maybe I should try to find that before I go. Long story short, when you pull this, you essentially pull the belt down. Now there's supposed to be a pulley here, but I don't have one. So I just greased the hell out of it and it seems to work fine. All it needs to do is run the motor to turn that big pulley, which turns the tines. But long story short, here in the garage, I'm not overly worried about it. So let's see if we can fire this guy up. Standard old school Briggs. It's got a choke right here. It's a little sticky. That is really full of gas. And with any luck, it's really full of oil. And it is. So we got that going for us. I don't think I've run it a lot since I changed the oil a week or two ago. Well, let's see if we can make this thing. I'll turn it on. Choke's on. Let's see if we can get it to go. Angry. It wants to. That was a pretty happy start. Let's give it one more try here. Shouldn't have to choke it now. I'd say that was pretty successful. So we went from scream and, we'd sit here and just scream. That seems to be working for a while. We'll see how long that grease lasts and how our lubrication does in the front here once we get some dirt in it, right? Because inevitably as we're churning dirt, it's going to create dust. It's going to create more friction. But I'll guys keep you posted. If you got any questions on this, there's a bunch of videos on this tiller specifically anyway. I'm going to dig around. Maybe I can find a bolt that'll fit. It's a real big one. Fits in the back, kind of protects the belt. Although once again, it's not really, doesn't do much because most dirt comes in from the bottom anyway. If you got any questions or comments, feel free. Probably going to shoot a video right after this one about showing you my little light setup here. Let me know what you think on that, and you guys have a good day.